Gentlemen, how's it going? It is DevsBooth, and today we are back with an Amara build, and this build is going to be revolving around Ricochet and everything that comes with that. It is really overpowered, however I do need to get the point across that there are some instances where obviously it may not be the best idea to use, and specifically that before bosses that don't spot mobs. And so to start off, I'm just going to go over the loadout and then the skills and then just what Mayhem I'm using and showing you a brief part about it. And so this build, before we get into it, is built around level 65 and Mayhem 10. And so to start off, um, there's no specific weapon you need to use besides maybe the reflux or the convergence. However, I do have two other weapons that you can use, as it's about doing a lot of damage, hitting a lot of pellets, everything that comes along with that. And so the first thing we're looking at is the convergence, level 65. There's no elemental on it. You can definitely get one with an elemental effect. However, do be aware that Amara has her own elemental abilities in the skill set, so keep that in mind. The next item is the beacon. I just recently came across the beacon, and it's almost like a better version of the health shock. So I have been a big fan of it. Plus, it has the reloading triggers and Nova of the current element, which is kind of fun. And then the anointment of action skill end splash damage is increased by 200 for a short time. The convergence does not have an anointment on it. However, you do want to have some specific ones, mostly that either deal with action skill ends or starts, and ones that may put a bonus elemental effect on your damage for the next couple seconds, or consecutive hits. We're going to be doing lots of ricochet damage, lots of consecutive hits, and especially with things like the Monarch, you're going to be doing a lot of pellet damage, same thing with the reflection and the shotguns, so consecutive hits will be very helpful. And the last item here is the reflux. It's it's hard to farm for the convergence. You have to have DLC 4 for. So basically, you can make this build without having the DLC. However, some things are easier if you do have the 4th DLC. The shield we'll be using is the Transformer, and again you can see on action skill N, gains 50% bonus shock damage with weapons for 10 seconds. That's more so the anointment that you're looking for on the non-weapon items. But if you can get it, like if you can get on grenades, that's good too. The grenade we're using is called the Mitosis Hunter Seeker. What happens with this? Shoots. Is the best way to put it. Shoots out bullets, and then it breaks into 3 grenades. They're shooting bullets. They're all gonna ricochet, and with the action skill being used, you're going to be gaining bonus shock and incendiary. You cannot put on 2 of the same elementals, so you can't have bonus shock damage and bonus incendiary damage and have them stack. It would only work the once, so keep that in mind while you are doing this. For the for the class mod, whenever Amara activates her action skill, this applies her action skill to herself. Amara's gun damage, is increased while moving, so we're going to want to be going fast, and the quicker she moves, the greater the gun damage bonus, as well as a bonus 32% weapon damage, awesome, plus 39% action skill cooldown rate, super great, and bonus shotgun damage, which really applies to the reflex and the convergence. And then for the artifact, we have damage boost as the first thing, and then something that's not really important is just when you kill badasses, you get the victory rush. However, if you do happen to do so, say you're playing on higher Mayhem, which is recommended just to get the better loot, you do get bonus movement speed and damage, and then you get the bonus movement damage from other parts of the build. Here we go. And then there's the bonus action skill cooldown rate, bigger magazine size, so you're going to be able to keep going and do more damage, and bigger area of effect, which will apply to the pistol as we saw earlier. And while suffering an elemental effect, increasing damage with the same element. That'll be good, especially with the Mayhems, you'll be taking a lot of damage like that. And then for the skill tree, uh, starting up with the Brawl tree, we have Root to Rise, bonus health. Amara is a little bit weak in this state. She's going to be doing tons and tons of damage, but it's best not to be going down when you can make it happen. Personal space, Amara's weapon shot deal bonus damage. Based on the distance to her target, you're going to be doing lots of ricochet, your bullets are going to be going off, bonus damage. So you want that up as high as you can. Then we have arms deal. Amara deals increased splash damage and takes reduced splash damage. The pistol is about the splash damage as well, so it's good to have. It really depends on how your build goes and the situation that you are in. And then for helping hands, for a few seconds after using her action skill, Amara's arms remain active and grant her damage reduction. You take less damage, the better your life. And that's from the class mod. Yours may not have that. It's not something that is needed. It's just you're having the bonus health. Take the bonus reduced damage. And then with mindfulness, whenever Amara takes damage, she gains a stack of mindfulness. As you saw in the name, for every stack of mindfulness, Amara gains improved shield regeneration delay and movement speed. Again, we're all about that movement speed. You're going to want to be taking damage. You go faster, you do more damage, yada yada yada. It's all tied together. And then in the mystical assault tree, the first one is Undo Harm. Killing an enemy grants Amara a stack of rush. Activating her action skill consumes all the rush stacks. You're going to be constantly using the action skill, so these won't be around for long, but they're easy to gain. For every stack of rush consumed, Amara's action skill damage is temporarily increased. You can have up to 10 of them. And then the next is fast hands. You reload faster, you swap weapons faster, the mode switch speed is improved. You're going to be switching out your weapons depending on your situation. You're going to be going through your magazine fast, so it's good to be able to reload it fast and get shooting again. And then with Violent Tapestry, applying a status effect grants Amara a stack of rush. Activating her action skill consumes the rush, as you know. And then when it's consumed, Amara's status effect chance is temporarily increased, going along with the one that was previous. And Amara gained increased action skill cooldown rate, plus 25%. Your action skill rate is going to be super fast, so you're going to be able to constantly use your action skill on the enemies and get ricochets from that. You're going to be able to keep it going up. It's very good. Amara gains increased accuracy and critical hit damage for a few seconds after activating her action skill. Again, you're going to be able to use your action skill all the time, so you're going to be using it all the time, and it gives you lots of buff. The one thing that is important with this build is that you do keep a mindful eye on using the action skill, because I notice myself when I'm playing. Typically when I'm going around, there are times when I forget to use it, long periods when I'm not using the action skill. It won't hurt you, really, but you are missing out on a great deal of bonuses if you were to use it. Alacrity. Amara gains increased reload speed for every stack of rush. After consuming the rush stacks, this bonus is increased for a few seconds. So you're going to be able to reload super fast. You're going to be using your rush stacks all the time, and they're all going to be buffed up from the previous skills. And then for Ascendant, all action skill augments gain increased effects. So that's the lifesteal, the lure radius, the glamour duration, revelation damage, and the stillness of mind. The next thing is from Rest. Amara gains improved fire rate and charge time, especially for using melee one weapons. Like the pistol we showed earlier, you charge up faster, you're firing faster, you're putting up bullets faster, ricochet more. Laid bare, enemies take increased damage from all sources for a few seconds after being damaged by Mara's action skill. You get damaged by the action skill, you gain increased damage to the enemies, at least those that are affected by it. And with Wrath, Amara gains increased gun damage. This effect is increased after she activates her action skill for a few seconds. You use your action skill, you're doing more damage, you're hurting more people, not yourself. Overall, the important thing is to be using the action skill. Remnant, when Amara kills an enemy with a gun or action skill, she creates a homing projectile that seeks out a new enemy, dealing her action skill elemental damage. Any overkill damage is added on to the projectile damage. It starts off with a 2370. You can boost it up more depending on how you want to make your build. However, it is important to have at least one skill point in this. And then for the bottom is Avatar. Amara's action skill can be activated while it's cooling down. This skill may only be used once per complete cooldown. Additionally, Amara gains increased max rush stacks. Additionally, if Amara's action skill kills an enemy, it refunds half of her rush stacks. Super important to have. And on top of that, it won't take too long to go through a complete cooldown of the action skill, so you don't have to worry about abusing it too much. And then in the Fist of Elements tree, we have Anima. Amara's status effects deal increased damage over time and have increased duration. Her action skill status effects deal further increased damage. This all ties in with the other trees as well. However, this one is important to have, leveled all the way up. And then with Steady Hands, you can increase weapon handling and accuracy, important to have, especially if you're constantly spraying bullets and not ADSing. With Infusion, convert a portion of damage dealt by Amara's weapon into her action skill element. It's good to have at least one point into that, and you can change it depending on your setting. Currently we just have it in blank, so it deals bonus shock damage. However, you can have it as incendiary or corrosive. And then whenever Amara applies a status effect to an enemy, it has a chance to spread to nearby enemies. You don't need this one too high, you're going to be dealing lots of ricochet damage. Lots of bullets are going to be hitting and doing status effects. So you don't need it too high, but you do need some points into it. I found 16% to be the best spot. However, you may notice it's not enough, or you may notice it's too much, and then you can just bump it down to 1 point or increase it depending on what you need. And then with Tempest, Amara deals increased elemental damage. This whole build is with elemental damage. You're doing ricochet damage. It's all about the damage. Yada yada. You want to be doing lots of this. You want to have this skill completely maxed out, especially if you do have it as the elemental damage that you're doing. Anyways, that's the shock damage, as this deals bonus shock damage on top of the bonus elemental damage. And then with Dread, Amara's gun damage is increased for a few seconds after an enemy is grasped. Whenever a player kills a grasped enemy, their current weapon is instantly reloaded. You're going to be doing lots of action skills uses here, so this one is important to have as well. And then with Deep Well, Amara gains increased magazine size with elemental weapons. Bigger magazine, less reloading, but if you do get a reload, it is super fast. And Indiscriminate, Amara's bullets that damage enemies have a chance to ricochet and deal decreased damage to other nearby enemies. This is the important one. Ricochet chance and damage are increased if the target is currently affected by phase grass or stillness of mind. So you're gonna want to be using your action skill all the time. This is the important one to have for the ricochet chance to happen. Yes, your ricochet damage may go down a little bit. It happens, whatever, but your bullets will ricochet more often and do the bonus damage. You're going to be doing the bonus elemental damage as well. Amara gains lifesteal whenever she deals elemental damage with her weapons. This will help you with not going down, and then as we had the damage reduction earlier and the bonus health earlier, this should keep you up for long periods of time. But if you do happen to take a big massive hit, you should be able to get back up sooner than later. And so for the Mayhem, we're current level Mayhem level 10. We do have Speed Demon on. With Speed Demon, the more you kill, the faster you go. The faster you go, the more damage you do, the more you kill. Good cycle. I have Postmortem as a very hard modifier. I was originally using the No Fight for Your Life one. However, I found it went down a lot when I wasn't paying too much attention. I'm watching TV in the background, or you're just a casual player, no big deal. You don't want to have to go back to the last checkpoint when using your Mayhem level 10, so I found having Death Release to be the better option. And so nothing here really hinders your damage or boosts your damage, nothing like that, which is what I aim for making these videos. However, one thing to keep in mind is that with chilling them softly, enemies are immune to cryo and they release a cryo nova when killed. You don't want to be close to the enemies. We have skills that are set up to make it so that you don't want to be close to the enemies anyways. And so that's best to keep in mind. And so this build is viable for if you're doing like takedowns, if you're playing the new DLC, you're just mobbing in general. It's not necessarily built too much for doing bosses. However, you can obviously like uh, build your hand around that. If you get a Sandtalk, that'll be super helpful. But again, it's mostly for everything but bosses. And I like the build. It's a nice change up from using the just specific build loadouts. Like if I made a video previously about how you can use the Gamma Burst, Nova Blast for flak, and as great as it is, it does kind of limit what you can and cannot do. So it's nice sometimes just to, oh man. So it's nice sometimes just to be able to play how you want, use whatever guns, play in whatever style you like, not having to focus just on one kind of mechanic. And with this, you're able to do either like, you can use the Malawan weapons, you can use shotguns. It's all about Ricochet, so you're just doing lots of damage to everything. With the build setup, it's good for just about every situation, except for maybe bosses like Graveward, for example. So if you're just mobbing or going through the takedowns by themselves, this will definitely get you through it, especially on Mayhem level 10. However, if you were to bring something like a Sandtalk or even just like a different class mod and the Sandtalk, you'll be able to quickly take down bosses as they come up and then quickly switch back, just so that you're not limited to just like one specific little mechanic. Like I do have other videos up, especially related to flak, where you're only able to use like your Gamma Burst with the Stinger shield, or you're only able to use like one specific shotgun, and you have to do like a little mechanic in order to get it to be viable. And so with this class, it doesn't matter what you're really fighting, again, as long as they're mobs, you'll be fine. And then as you come across enemies that say are more shield based or more armor based, you can tinker around with the action skill setup to make it so that your class does switch to a corrosive damage or fire damage or shock damage, whatever is best for the situation you are currently in. Anyways guys, with that being said, that is the Ricochet Amara class. Make sure to stick around to check out more videos, and then make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time.